What's up, guys? It's mstubs88, and today I'm going to do a deck profile of what I played at the Invitational. As you know, it was basically draft. So we got 5 Bakugan, one of each faction except for Arliss, and 10 packs of the new Armored Elite pack. From that, we had to build our decks, and we were not allowed to trade, so that made things real interesting. I totally got, like, the no trading Bakugan. Like, that should have been just fine. Like, I would have been fine with that, but there were, like, several people that had cards that I would have loved to have been able to play in this deck, and I feel like it would have given everybody more options to be able to play something that they wanted to play other than kind of what they were forced into playing, like what was best. But nonetheless, we all made do. Had a really good time. I feel like I definitely could have went a lot farther than I did. At the very last second, I should have played a card, and I'll go over that when I get to it. And if I played it, I know for a fact I would have won my round 2. I lost in round 2 and got knocked out by Dylan, Baku Blade Legacy. But if I had played a card, I would have won. And I don't know how my next game would have went, but I'm pretty confident because this deck, I'm actually pretty confident with this deck for it being a draft deck. So we'll start with the Bakugan that I played. I played Darkus Pahrol. He's a Helix and a Green Fist. He's 605. It's really solid. Then I played Hydorous Core. He's 404. He's a Helix and a Green Fist. And if he lands on a Helix, he gets plus 500 and plus 5 damage. He would have been so much more clutch if I had had better Helixes than plus 1 Frost Strike and plus 1 or plus Shadow Strike. So my Helixes were kind of garbage, but again, we made do. And initially, I'm sure you all have seen that I had Gillator, Ventus Gillator. I was playing him over Trox, and then I realized Trox is just better. And he's Magic Shield Green Fist, 802. Just the Ventus card pool, again, is just kind of sad, honestly, for the set, but or at least with what I pulled. And I realized that my Haos cards were just a little bit better after getting, wrecked by Serena Fang Shaman. She wrecked me like 2 games in a row, and I was like, all right, I've got to change something. And I realized I just kept on getting hung up on Gillator. So I swapped it out for Trox, and I'm glad I did because Trox came in real clutch. Again, here's Haos Trox Ultra. Here is the Hydorous Core, pretty sweet, and the Darkus Pahrol. I was really excited to get this guy. He looks so cool. All right, so into the deck. Obviously, I knew I was going to be playing my only Darkus Bakugan, and it only made things better when I pulled a 1 of Evo for it. I was like, okay, cool. I was really happy about that. I wish I'd pulled more, but that was the only Evo I played. Outside of that, I played 2 Haos Crescendants, which is plus 300B for 1 cost. I played 2 Prism Blast. It's plus 300, but if you have Trifecta, which is the new thing, which is where if any of your Bakugan together have 3 cores, so it's like a better domination, you get the effect, and it's plus 700B instead. So you get good boost for 2 cost. Then I played 3 Darkus Slice. It's 1 cost plus 200. It's basically replacing Prismatic Blast. I played 3 Max React because it's a plus 2 damage and Shadow Strike for 2 cost, and it has Sync, where I can reveal a card in my hand that's 2 cost for plus 5 instead for 2 cost, which is pretty good. And since I'm playing a lot of 2 cost things, I was like, I might as well max out on that. I played 2 Razor Tusk. It's a very win more card. Sorry, I got something scratching me in the throat. But you can only play it before you roll. This turn, your Bakugan gets Victor. Choose a player to discard 2 cards. So if you know that you're going to win your match, you can play this on turn 2. Knock 2 cards out of their hand, and then they obviously can't, block on turn 2 9 times out of 10. Or, well, at least in this, they definitely couldn't. I played 2 Baku Crusher. I wish I could have played more because plus 300 plus 3 was really good for this format. For 3 costs. It was just an all-around good card. I played 2 Vice Cutter because I really realized that you needed a lot of plus B power cards. So plus 500 is good. And then if I wanted to, I could destroy a gear that one of my Bakugan had for plus 5, which is pretty good for 4 cost. I wish I pulled more of this as well. Dark Rain, plus 4, it also has Sync. So I can reveal it's like Max React, except on this one I reveal a Baku gear in hand to get plus 400. And then there's Darkus Tsunami, which is 4 cost, plus 500, plus 5. So it's a better Baku Crusher, essentially, for 1 more cost. I wish I'd had more of this as well. It's Carapace Spin. It's got the new symbol for draw. So it's 1 cost to draw a card plus 100B. You got Ice Barrage, which is a 3 cost, gives you plus 5 Frost Strike. This card was so good in that format. I don't know how it'll be in like actual competitive play, but for what we were doing, since there was not a lot of flips in the set, it made the ones that were available pretty much obsolete. I played 2 Aquos Bubble, again, because I needed more beat power boosting, and 4 for plus 500. I mean, the games were hitting around turn 7, 8, and 9 sometimes. So 4 cost really wasn't that high of a cost for what the format was. But I think it's interesting because if all your opponents' Bakugan are the same faction, you get plus 1500 instead, which is kind of insane. So my Baku gear that I played only had 1 Scorching Swords, which is 2 costs for plus Shadow Strike, plus 100, plus 1. Really good for a permanent. Through the tournament, I wish I'd had more Dark Helm. It's 3 costs, plus 200, plus 2. Because, I mean, keep in mind, anything with this is permanent. So it's an equip. And if you have a gear on there that you don't want anymore and you want to play a new one on it, all you have to do you literally just discard it. I played 2 Dark Daggers. It's plus 200, plus 5 for 4. Pretty solid. I played 1 Twilight Axes. I wish I had more of this. Really awesome. It's actually, if I could find him, I would show you. Oh, he's right here in front of me. It's actually his gear. It's pretty sweet. This is Enoch. I didn't have him before the tournament, unfortunately. But it's his gear, so it was cool. Mecha Claws, that's actually Halcor's. It's plus 400, plus 4, and you can play it for free if it's the only card in your hand. I played 1 Bolt Bow. I only have 1 in general, which is kind of crazy. It's plus 2 Frost Strike permanently, plus 100 for 2 costs. Pretty good. This is the card that the gear that everybody's going nuts about. I actually pulled 2 of it. Glimmering Glaive. It's 4 cost. When you play it, it's basically Consort, and you get plus 400B. You don't get any damage. It's okay. Because you can always like snake a Red Fist or something like that. That's like plus 6 or something. So it's pretty good. And then the only flips that I played were 2 Swirling Darkness, which block non-Darkus and non-Aquos. So it only stops 4 factions. So it's 1 cost less than the others, but it lets you, and you have to obviously play both Darkus and Aquos to play it. So it stops everything that's not Darkus or Aquos. Pretty good. Then Aqua Slime blocks Haos or Pyrus. I knew there was going to be a lot of Haos and Pyrus played, so I went for it. You block it, and then you draw 2 cards. Then I also played Lightning Wing, which is basically the Haos version of this. Attach 2 Baku cores from the field to one of your open Bakugan. Pretty good. 3 cost. Oh, and I did have 2 more gear. My apologies. I played 2 Hail Bracers. They're 6 cost for just plus 1,000, which is pretty good for that late game struggle. Whenever I was afraid that a lot of my opponents would end up having like their evos and stuff for the Bakugan that they got, especially with that Dragonoid Ultra Pyrus. He was just absolutely nuts. So I was kind of afraid of that, and if people had the Evo for him, it's just insane. So I wanted something to make my Trox like a base 1800, or him a base 1600, or him a base 1400 that could go up to a base 19 if I hit that. So That was my thoughts on that. And for 6 cost, when the games were typically hitting 6, 7, 8, 9 turns, felt like it was kind of worth it as a 2 of. But yeah, that was the deck that I played. If I had thought about what I was doing before I decided, oh, I'm done playing cards, I actually had just evolved Pahrol against Dylan, and you'll see if you go and watch the live stream video that he did. I hit him for 5. If I had played this, I would have got +3, making him 8, and he only had 7 cards left in deck. So I would have beat him, but I got afraid because I was working on my team attack, and I only had him, and there was only 2 Helix on the board, or maybe 1, and they were in a weird spot. So I was like, oh man, he's only gonna be base 400 if I don't hit anything else to give him a boost. So I'm like, I'm going to need this, especially against his, I'd be playing against his Cycloid. So I freaked out, didn't play it. And then I was like, man, I should have played it. And I was like, okay, whatever. We got this roll. I roll and I botch my roll. So I ended up getting smacked in the face straight for 10, and that ended me. But you live and you learn. It was a lot of fun being there. And, you know, super grateful to have been able to go. I knew, like, I was surprised I was invited to begin with, and then the fact that I was actually able to go due to, you know, life circumstances and everything like that. It was such an honor to be able to be there. And, you know, again, thank you, Spin Master, for allowing me to be there. But yeah, guys, that's the deck I played for the Invitational. It was a ton of fun. Tell me what you think for a draft deck. What do you think about it in the comments below? And I guess I'll catch you all on the flip side. Remember to keep calm and brawl on.